from a few minutes. First of all, Oprah is saying that this is not your mama's color purple, but your mama will like it too, and now the kids will as well. So tell us what your experience was with the original color purple. What do you remember about watching it? What did it mean to you? And then how did you get Oprah and everyone back on board for this one?
First, it is an honor and a privilege to be here. Thank you all so much. See, I read the book before I saw the movie, and I'm sure some people here did that as well. And you know, what Alice Walker conjured, which is what has birthed this multiverse that is the color purple, is truly unbelievable. And those words are what birthed Stephen's film, and the Tony Award-winning Broadway show. So we are all deeply indebted to Alice first. So that's where it began for me. I saw Steven Spielberg's classic, and the impact was profound. I got a phone call that said that they were remaking The Color Purple, and of course, I'm sure as all of you probably first felt when you heard that, you probably went, why? That was me too. But what I found fascinating was that we had the opportunity to create an amalgam of all these brilliant, beautiful versions of The Color Purple that has existed. From the book, to the film, to the Broadway play. And also have the opportunity to create something that is ours, which was truly a gift in of itself, and getting to work with these brilliant women. Taraji, Danielle, but also our cast of amazing geniuses. Coleman Domingo, Fantasia, Corey Hawkins, Halle Bailey, Felicia and Posse. Did I say John Batiste? Did I say the legendary Lou Gossett Jr., Angelo Ellis, H.E.R. I mean, the list goes on and on. So anyway, I mean, I'm just truly a privilege to get this opportunity to reimagine and bring something special.
Yes, yes, and then we saw Tamala. Just
the legendary Tamala.
You can't have a movie like, honestly, thank y'all for making sure she was there, because it wouldn't have been right if she wasn't. Now, Taraji, we are so excited to watch you as Shug Avery, which, yes, go ahead, because yes. When I first saw the trailer, it jumped off the screen that this was exactly your part. Like, it just made so much sense. And I want to know your first experience with The Color Purple as well, and also why did you decide to say yes to it now? Because I heard you turn down the musical before. So tell me.
I was scared as hell. No, I come from theater, and I just know the toll that it takes on your body, and certainly your voice when you're performing 8 shows a week. And I just honestly didn't feel like I was ready. But, you know, the funny thing about life is that you can't run from what's destined for you, because you can't walk around. But, you know, The Color Purple is our Shakespeare. Like, it has been around, it's going to be around long after we're all gone. There'll be another reimagination of it later. You know, it's just, it's a part of our culture. It's a part of our history and who we are as a people. Like he said, the multiverse of Color Purple. And that's our family. We know those people. And I just remember aspiring to be an actress and just seeing this movie. Well, first of all, we had to read the book in school, but seeing it on the screen and seeing all of those Black people just allowed me to dream and to pursue my dream, and knowing that I could do it because I've seen all these beautiful people that I admired and looked up to portray these amazing, rich characters that really made me feel seen, you know, and it just inspired me to do the same thing for a generation coming behind me. So that's just my remembrance of seeing that. I was just in awe. I was in awe because, you know, they don't show us. Back then, we didn't get as many opportunities to be seen like that in that light.
Yes, absolutely. I'm ready to be in awe of you. And in awe of Miss Danielle Brooks as Sophia. Baby, when you kicked in that door, the foot lingered. I said, she's serious about this. Now,
Liz, I got to do this. I was like, please let me kick the door open. And he was like,
it's so good. It's so good. Now, we know that you also played this beautifully on stage, and now I'm so happy that we get this on film internationally. I just am so ready for December 25th. I just don't know what to do. But tell me a little bit about, we all saw the Oprah moment when you got your call, okay? Thank you for posting it and sharing. I really loved it. I felt like I got a call from Oprah. So can you tell us what it felt like, what it feels like now that you are at the first big event? You have played Sophia so many times, but now for this movie, what does it feel like now to carry on the legacy of this character? And then have the call come from Oprah herself that she was passing the baton to you.
okay, so I wasn't planning on doing this, but can all of y'all just give me a woo real quick? That's what it felt like. That's what it felt like. It was one of those moments that your body is kind of going through all these butterflies, and you're like, is this really the moment? Is this about to be the moment, you know? And to get that, you know, baton passed on by Miss Oprah Winfrey herself, just meant a great deal, because we all know what that character, what the story means to us. So I feel and felt, still do, a great responsibility. This character means a lot to me because, like you just said, you know, if you're destined for something, you gotta do it. And so I did do a year on Broadway, 8 shows a week of playing Sophia. I got to know her really well. But now, you know, life has changed for me. I'm a wife, so I know what it really means to say I was married now. I'm a mother, you know? Thank you. And I've been through some things. I've had my trauma, I've had my pain. And I've had to learn how to navigate it with grace when I wanted to be Sophia, you know? So I'm just very grateful for this experience, and I do hold the responsibility of playing her very close to heart.
You do well, you do great. Now I want to ask you about working with, I mean, the sisterhood is so powerful in this film, as we saw in just that trailer, but I want to ask you a little bit about working with Corey Hawkins, which I think is such a cool, such a cool pairing as well. What was it like on set with him? Tell me about Sophia.
Corey Hawkins, y'all ain't ready for this dude, right? Like, first of all, we are very close as my best friend. We went to H.E.R together. We were in the same class, and if you don't know, getting into H.E.R is very tough, but it's only 18 in a class at one time. So we were tight, especially because there was only 6 black folk in there too. It was really tight. And you know, I've seen Corey's career blossom, as we all have. Seen him in Compton, straight out of Compton at 24. And the list goes on. He's a 2-time Tony nominee. But what I can say, and that's my brother. And the reason I've been so emotional is because the way he's had my back, it's not only sisterhood, it's brotherhood too. And for this film alone, I had to audition and go through an 8-month process. me. He had the job before I did. And he was asking the producers, like, yo, you need yeah. And like, really, really had my back. So Corey Hawkins, wherever he is, New York, that's my boy, I love him. I can't wait for y'all to see his talent in this.
That was literally the definition of that's my best friend right there. I really love that he advocated for you. Now, Suge is a powerful woman who owns her sexuality, her talent, her entire bravado. As soon as Suge walks into town, like you said, the whole city lights up. And I am so excited to watch you play this, but why is that extraordinary in the world of this film, especially for you? What was it like for you to bring that to set every day?
Oh God, it scared the hell out of me. I'll just never forget. This was like during the shutdown. We're doing Zooms, and I remember my manager calling saying, "You're being tapped." This was right after I hadn't even left to go to New York to do Miss Hannigan, you know, the live NBC version of Annie. And I was like, "What you doing? Where's all this singing coming from?" And I did a Zoom with Blitz, and my manager was like, "You're being tapped to play Suge Avery in The Color Purple." I said, "What?" And sure enough, I'm doing the Zoom, and he was like, "You are my Suge." And I was like, "I am?" But it scared the hell out of me, and that's actually how I choose my roles. If it doesn't scare me, then chances are I don't need to do it, or it's somebody else's blessing. Because when it scares me, that means there's a fear that I have to overcome. And if I'm transformed, then the audience is going to be transformed in some way. So I was just honored that this man chose me. And so now I had to rise to the occasion. And I love a good challenge, you know. And so, you know, I had to get the dust off the vocal cords. I had to start vocally training with my vocal trainer, Stevie Mack. Which Stevie Mack. What did I say? Right? Don't tell him I said that. Don't you make me mad. Anyway, you know, it just took me back to my college days when I went to Howard University. It just, you know, it took me back to my days of Howard University when I did study musical theater, and you know, it's something that's very near and dear to me, and I don't know if a lot of my fans know that I can really sing, you know, but it's something that I kind of like put away, because when I was in college, I became a mother in my junior year, so when it was time for me to graduate, I was like, I don't know if it's going to be music, because that I don't know, just seems so dark. And the artists are protected, and I had a kid, and I was like, I need insurance. So I went west to pursue acting because we have a union, you know, but I kind of put it away, and again, like your destiny, you can't run from it. So Suge was, she's very important to me. That woman is a transformer. You know, she came into these women's lives who felt they weren't seen, and she saw them, and those women saw themselves in her, and wished that they could be her, and she showed them that you could do it too, and she swooped in and she took them and showed them a world where they could live their truth as well. And I'm a girl's girl. I mean, you know, if you follow my career, I lift sisters up, I support my sisters, because we all we got, and we're more powerful than numbers. Because of her talent, and not only just her talent, but her insight to what sisterhood really is. She's the one who teaches Celie about love. I mean, the women in general teach each other about unconditional love, because we loved each other in the lowest moments and in our highest moments. And that's what we need. We need sisters. We need to stick together. Period.
Go deeper into the love between Suge and Celie and Sophia and all of the things that we experienced on set, you all experienced on set, I'm sure is reflected. But it seemed like there was a real bond on set. So talk to me about the sisterhood, and you know, it sounds like you all really got to know each other well. What was some of your favorite moments on set, especially with the ladies of the cast? Because you know, Black women, we cut up, so I'm sure it was some good moments on set. And Danielle asked.
I mean, we did cut up. I definitely do believe we became close, and I mean, who doesn't want to be in the presence of Miss Taraji every day and Fantasia every day? So we had a good time. But the cool thing is that we all have things that we know that we're strong. We have strong suits in, and then things that we might feel a little wonky in. So we were able to like really support each other in that, and that includes her and Holly and Felicia. You know what I mean? And so I just love that. And I've kind of had that journey with Orange is the New Black too, having sisterhood. Yeah, it flowed well, and we had a good time. We still cut up.
We still cut up to this day. We trying to be professional right now, but we even have a thread, and we check on each other. Yeah, I call them my babies. I went to see this beautiful queen on Broadway, and killed it. I also went to see Corey Hawkins on Top Dog Underdog on Broadway. You know, so we really did form a family, and we're still very close, and we check in on each other quite often.
Oh, that's awesome. Ooh, now wait, look, sorry, you said what was the name of the group chat? You said something about Suge, something.
I don't know how to hack our phones.
You're right. Never mind. Just in case somebody has a hacking degree here. Now, what's the genesis of the music of this movie? I mean, I was blown away just hearing a few songs. And of course it comes from the stage musical. I'm sure some of it does. But how did you interpret it and evolve it for film?
Making a musical is probably one of the hardest things because you have to tell the story on two planes. The music has to tell a story, and visually you have to tell a story that supports sonic. And my biggest challenge was, you know, on Broadway, they don't have to really be concerned about the time lapse. Now, film goes through almost 40 years of Celi's life. And that's also 40 years of African-American creative genius, sonically, right? That evolved from the spirituals, the gospel, blues, the jazz, and that has birthed everything else. So when you get a project like this, the responsibility is not just, oh, let's put some songs in the movie. It's about how is this music telling the story. So I think the first thing that I did, and shout out to my girl Morgan Rhodes in here, who's one of my esteemed music supervisors. It started with first going, who are the masters of these genres? So we got the great Ricky Dillard, legendary. Wow. We got the magnificent Kev Mo. We got the genius Christian McBride on jazz. And we brought these brothers in, and the goal was for them to all just say, you know, what is the thread of this African-American intellectual and musical genius, and how do we just sew it all together? And that's how the music came together. And then of course, getting this cast was another blessing, you know, from, you know, we all know Fantasia. I don't have to say much about that. But the amazing surprises for me was Taraji. I knew Danielle was a master of this because you've done the show, so that was natural. And I have to say, what I'm still in awe of, and this is for all of you, is your commitment. You know, and for a director, that's all you want, that's all you need, is to be trusted and to trust. And I knew that you all revered and held this property in high regard and love, and you were going to do the work. And it wasn't just singing, y'all, it was dancing. It was long hours of choreo. Shout out to Fatima Robinson. Another master. So it was really figuring out how do we tell the story of a people who have influenced everything. Everything. Seldom getting the respect, the money, and everything else that comes out of that genius. But that was our job, was to honor them and to get the best people to interpret.
I just want to say something funny. Danielle was off on Broadway. And she came to set, and I'll never forget, it was the first night we started filming Push the Button, and Fantasia she was telling me, she was like, Danielle didn't think that was you singing. She kept coming over to me in between takes, and she was like, is that really Taraji singing? That's really her singing.
She cut up. Taraji did her thing for real.
I mean, but look at the voices. I mean, I had to rise to the occasion.
And we don't ever doubt that you ever won't. That's the great part about it. And I have to ask you, first of all, Blitz, I could listen to you talk all day. Your genius, your mission statement around, what was it? Tell me again, I don't want to misquote you. It was to reflect blackness in every aspect. What was the mission statement of this film?
No, to just reflect blackness in all of its beauty and complexity. That's us.
Yes.
That's us.
And I want to ask each of you this, because you talked about it a little bit at the top of this discussion about how some people were online like, oh, please don't touch this perfect film. And I'm sure as the leader of this set, there were days where you were like, whew, okay, this is crazy. So how did you get past any creative blocks? How did you get past anything that might have felt like self-doubt during the process of creating this film? And for you all as well, with the roles that you all took on, the mantles of these major roles, if you had any self-doubt, how did you deal with those? And I'll start with you.
Well, for me, I have a theory about hills. Okay? You never die on your hill. When people say pick the hill you want to die on, never. You die, however, on somebody else's hill. All the time. So picking your hill is the hill you thrive on. And that was the first and probably most important decision we made, collectively, as a group. We bonded over this, which was to make this ours. We were not going to mimic. We were not going to play dress up. We weren't going to pretend. We were going to take the color purple and make it ours. There was something we used to talk about in the editing room a lot, which was, Alice Walker has written the best song possible. We are cover bands. Stephen played his cover, okay? Broadway played their cover. We're gonna play our cover. And we all know songs that we prefer the covers sometimes, right? Or sometimes you like all versions. I mean, think about a song like Walk On By. You know, several covers. Sometimes I want to listen to the, I don't know, Isaac Hayes version. Sometimes I want to listen to the original. You know, it's just, but that's ours. But the main and most critical thing was that we were going to pick our hill. We were going to thrive on that hill. And every decision was going to come from us. Not pretending and not trying to match. And not, I didn't watch Stephen when I got this job. I refused to watch Stephen's film. I just didn't want to, I didn't want to be influenced. And with all respect and love, I knew that we had a responsibility for our generation. And there are things that are peculiar about our generation that didn't exist in the 80s. And it's our job to make sure that young people today have this color purple to look to. They can go back to the book too, they can go back to Stevens. Again, it's all part of the multiverse. But to earn our way, it had to be ours. And again, thankfully, I had an incredible team that believed that we had something else to contribute. And that's all it was. If you're adding to the canon, then it's all good. But if you're coming to mimic and pretend, then people are going to see through it. We're going to be judged no matter what. Let it be on our hill.
Well, Steve, even I spent your day. But Taraji, you were saying, hold on, I didn't watch it either. Can you tell me a little bit about how
I wouldn't watch it either because for me, it was a Black person telling the story and directing this story. And that's the piece I think people are missing when they go, why are we redoing this classic because of Black men? We never told the story from our perspective. We do this reimagining because the one thing about us as a people, we don't dwell in our trauma, right? We can hate each other at the cookout, but as soon as they hit that electric slide, we on the floor. You know, we sing through our pain and our trauma, we dance, we go to church, it's gospel, we celebrate life no matter what. And the moment you see it on the screen, you see the color, it pops, because we're colorful. And so, you know, that's my argument to the people that are like, why do we need to remake it again? Because it's never been told by us since the book. And the musical. So we need this. We need this now to pass this on to this newer generation, to give them their version of The Color Purple.
I just love you. Also, I just love the way the DC popped out right there. He was like, well,
you know, I'm just sensitive. I'm an artist and I'm sensitive about my shit.
I understand. You know what it says? I'm from DC right with you. Says, I understand. Now, Danielle, I know you said, you know, you didn't really want to go after Blitz, but now that Taraji's gone, anything else you want to add to this question?
No, I think they said everything so beautifully. Yeah, I'm glad to be sitting beside these two people. I don't have to add. They said everything that needed to be said. Yes.
Well, I have to ask you because I had a little cheat code. We did have a pre-book reception, and you talked about the first two words of Alice Walker's book when you opened it. I need you to explain what that means to you, what her words mean to you, and how that impacts and reflects in your experience.
Yeah, man. This story, this multiverse means so much to me because this was the first Broadway show I ever saw in 2005 was The Color Purple. And then 10 years later, after many auditions for Broadway and hearing no after no after no, my first Broadway show was The Color Purple. Blessed to do many low-budget, beautiful independent films, but this is my first studio film. So, if you haven't read Alice Walker's book, you need to read it. And the first two words are, Dear God. And I feel like as a people, it's our love letter kind of to God. Say, Dear God, thank you for helping us dance through our trauma. Thank you, God, for pulling us through our pain. And still we rise, you feel me? Like, we're still on our feet. So, I feel like that's what this has been for me. We all have gone through stuff, but at the end of the day, we can still write our love letters to God. Yeah. So, that's all I got to say. Thank you.
Well, the doors of the church are now open. You can pass your tithing baskets to the left. Thank you. It's Cash App at Danielle Brooks. I'll just pay y'all hands. Now look, okay, so let's get into more about this cast. I can't even, literally we've got Fantasia as Celie, Coleman Domingo as Mr., Corey Hawkins as Harpo, Halle Bailey as the young Nettie, as well as her, Louis Gossett Jr., David Allen Greer, Sierra, Dion Cole, John Baptiste, Felicia Pro, Passy, Tamala J. Mann, Aunjanue Ellis-Taylor, Stephen Hill, and so many more. Of a paragraph. I just want to know how many people in this cast. How was it working with such a deep, vast cast of so much talent and experience? Who was the first person that said, yeah, like take me through the casting of this film, anything that stands out, because I could have read, I'm sure there's more that I could have
there's
written.
more.
Yes.
I mean, the blessing that is to work with this level of Black excellence. And we also have to put it in context, working together. We work here and there, different places, but the atmosphere, showing up to work every day and getting your mind blown by Black geniuses was something that I wish for every creative person in this room. I really do. Because I would leave, I'll show up. These were hard days. They know. These were long days, arduous, every problem you can feel. We worked through COVID. These were difficult times, but I looked forward, and I'm the kind of director, I show up 2 hours before call every day. Doesn't matter what time the call is. I'll show up 2 hours just to walk the set and just appreciate the blessing that it is to open the door for these people to show up. And my job, again, was just to trust them and create space. I never got in the way. I hope I did not. The job was always just to say, I trust you. Go ahead, do it. And you read the bench. It is insanely deep. Did you even say Lou Gossett Jr.?
I did. No, I didn't.
Okay, just making sure. But that's it. And I say this to say the myriad of not only talent but experience, some of whom are legendary beyond, some of whom this was their first feature film. And to see everyone lift everyone, you talked a little bit about that, but to watch everyone rooting for. I remember the day Fantasia sung, I'm Here. Hallie shows up. It's a cold day. We were outside late. Hallie, Felicia, some of the cast showed up just to come watch. Because they were like, I cannot miss this. And it was, you'll come watch other people work, when it wasn't your day to work. This was something that happened consistently. And then you find out that, what it is just, we rarely have these opportunities that we trust each other and we've been given the resources. All what we're talking about costs a lot of money to do. And trust, which is another thing I was very fortunate to have in my producers, whether it was Steven Spielberg, Oprah, Quincy Jones, Scott Sanders, to push as far as I could. And a lot of it was also just figuring out who were right. Because it's about building a family, right? And what we know about families is that one bad apple starts to create issues. And so my job was also to figure out who was right in the family dynamic. So you can invite them and they will help each other, they're complementary. And as you said earlier too, just the support. Some people are more experienced in other things. Some are more experienced singers, some are more experienced actors. And it's watching each other kind of help. That's how we create something special, y'all. That's it. There was no other way. So, beyond blessed to have the cast. And again, I cannot wait for you to see, and we always just say this, there are no small parts. In this movie, there are no small, you'll see people come in for, I remember when we were talking about Ingenue Ellis for Mama, right, which is, by the way, a minuscule part. Very few words. Everyone was like, oh my goodness, you're gonna go to Ingenue. She had just been Academy nominated at the time. And I took the chance, took a Zoom with her. She was like, Blitz, you need me to just come show up and carry water? I'll be there. Right? And this is the kind of love, and it says a lot about the property. It says a lot about the reverence we have for it. This journey of this Black woman who survives and thrives. This is the cornerstone of America. And the hope is that people see it for what it is.
Wow. I love that there was so much excitement around this project and awareness of the power of this moment, that people like Aja and Ellis were like, nah, I'll come sweep. Like, whatever you need, sweep it, what you need. And I think that we all understand that, like as an audience, but also as a cast, I know you all understand, like, having a black director, having all these things, having the resources is a major thing. But I want to ask you also about the men in this film. We heard a little bit about Corey, but as Mr. and Harpo, there seems to be a more rounded, well-rounded telling of their journey. And we know them as very complicated, difficult characters. So talk to me a little bit about how we are getting a different version of their journeys.
Well, as Coleman said, and I'm sure you guys saw it in the teaser, we just humanized them. And you know, one of my first conversations with Coleman, because it's a very difficult role for anyone to play. And I told him, I can promise you one thing, is that he will be human, right? Because nothing human is alien to any of us, right? This darkness, this wickedness, but also this power of redemption. If it's not us, we certainly know someone who is in our families who have been through that journey and are invited. So that was our job. But I also, as a black man raising a black son, it's important that he sees what generational trauma looks like. From old Mister, who we all know is stuck in his ways, will never change, to Mister, who is on this pendulum, to Harpo, who is the aspirational version of us. Yes, he'll trip, he'll fall, but he knows how to get back on his feet. And that's a myriad of black male experiences. And our job in this film was to make sure that it was completely told. Because as you said, Taraji, earlier, there's a part of the film that has had issues in the past, and we were very aware of it. And my job was not to make Mr. anything different from what Alice's intentions were, just to make him a full human being, right? With the capacity to potentially change, right? And which is, again, reflection of all of us. None of us arrive at this place on day one. We're all a work in progress. And everyone is worthy of that grace. And that's what our intent with all the men, and actually every character. The job was to take everyone's part and make it something memorable, something complete.
We're at the last question, and this is a very obvious question. What do you hope audiences, when they go into the theaters on December 25th, walk out the theater feeling once they've seen this film? And Taraji, I'll start with you and go down the line, and we will wrap this up.
You know, I just hope that, you know, us as a people will continue to choose joy no matter what, because it's a choice.
Amen.
No matter what, in spite of, you know, this system is built to break us down. We can either choose light or dark, fear or faith. You know, this is spiritual warfare, this thing called life. And every day we wake up, we have the choice to choose light, dark, negative, positive, love, hate, joy, or sadness. And my prayer is that you see this film and be moved to fight for your joy in spite of.
I think for me, I hope that generational curses are broken. I hope that people are healed. I hope that people can ugly cry and let go of whatever is holding them back or holding them down or not letting them move forward in life. I just pray that our people come out stronger and feel like unstoppable, is what I hope. So yeah.
I I just hope that this film is received in the spirit in which it was made, with love, with deep reverence for each other, for our story, for our resilience. And I hope we look at those who survived in our families, because Celie's survival was critical, right? And when we look at our own families, let's remember those who survived under some of the most impossible circumstances. And also remember that it's our responsibility to more than just survive now. It's to thrive, right? And I pray that on Christmas Day, all y'all beautiful people come out, okay? So we can thrive together, okay? So that's it. Thank you so much.
Oh my goodness. Yes. Ladies and gentlemen, let us thank Taraji P Henson, Danielle Brooks, and Go see The Color Purple in theaters December 25th, Christmas Day, and encourage everyone you know, bring your family. I know y'all gonna get dinner after anyway. Bring your family. Thank you all so much for being here. ABFF